When are you starting?
I think it just started.
I'm not ready
This
yet. Can you wait?
No, I
Did we
can't wait.
start? What's the episode?
Hangouts, live hangouts. Wait for no Cardassian or man or Time Lord.
What episode of Voyager are we reviewing today?
Oh my gosh, there's something really funny
Definition.
that's happening later on Drunk Space Nine that I have to just say. I can't say anything about it, but it's you just reminded me with your
Uh-oh.
Voyager comment.
Uh-oh.
Drunk Space Nine is going on a whole new level of drunkenness.
Uh-oh. All right.
That was a plug for Drunk Space Nine, another show about Star Trek that both Starfleet Boy and the Doctor participate in, and the brainchild of Guldu Scott. And I must say, it provides me with much enjoyment to be on that show.
It provides me with much enjoyment to have you guys on the show,
Thank you. It's a great show.
to enter the child of my brain.
The child of my brain. So today's episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, for which we are having a casual, informal discussion, is called Coming of Age. And to give a quick little recap, this is a great episode. I've already shared my opinion about it.
Oh, wow.
This is a great episode that involves a lot of intrigue on the ship. Captain Picard is dropping young Wesley Crusher off at a starbase on Relva, the planet Relva, so that he can get tested for entrance into Starfleet Academy. And it's a very difficult, challenging test. As a matter of fact, they already screened everyone on the ship who's a candidate, and Wesley beat everyone else on the Enterprise, and now he has to go up against three other Supreme candidates from other ventures, whether they're starships or planets or whatever. So it's a great honor. Meanwhile, Captain Picard discovers that his good old friend, Admiral Quinn, it happens to be on Relva, and he wants to come aboard the ship. He's very insistent on seeing Picard alone, and he informs Picard that he thinks that something is wrong on the Enterprise, and he has to root it out. And so he puts his little attache, Remmick.
Remmick.
Was he Commander? Was it Commander Remmick?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, Commander Remmick is put in charge of finding out what is wrong. Thank you, Lieutenant Commander. With finding out what is wrong on board the Enterprise, and so insanity ensues. Lots of tension. Riker has a couple of hissy fits, and Captain Picard handles the situation, I thought, very cool and very calmly. But then he can't take any more, and he confronts Quinn, and Quinn informs him that the reason that he's been doing this is because he thinks there's some crazy thing going on in Starfleet that's threatening to unravel the very fabric of Starfleet itself, some kind of conspiracy, which we'll find out more about later. But he also says that he wants Captain Picard to be close to him at Starfleet headquarters, so he proposes promoting Picard to the rank of Admiral, and then offers him a position as Commandant of Starfleet Academy. Dream job. I mean, seriously. Captain Picard, unfortunately for Admiral Quinn, refuses, but fortunately for us, he will continue as captain of the Starship Enterprise, and we get to see more adventures with him intact. And that's the summary. How did I do?
Fantastic.
I was
as
inspired
always.
by one of your summaries.
When I felt like I was living the episode all over again in my mind's eye.
Where did the Doctor go? He just disappeared.
He just walked away.
No, but it's his little thing.
His avatar.
We'll probably get a text from him informing us of what happened.
Yeah.
Not sure how you can rejoin. But anyways, what did you think of the episode? Share your thoughts.
Loved it. I loved it. I think it was up there with the best ones of season one. It was one of the few really watchable ones. And I love Wesley's story where it's going, and I just thought there was that nice warm moment between him and Picard at the end, and it was just a great Wesley episode. It was also a great Picard episode, and I was my interest was piqued by this mention of a possible conspiracy in the Starfleet ranks because I don't really remember where that's going. I don't remember them having some sort of ongoing storyline about that.
Well, it's not as ongoing as you might think, but it does wrap up later in the season. That's very.
Okay.
This is kind of a seed that's planted for something that comes later.
Yeah, but that's interesting. That's not something they did on this show too often.
No, not often. You're right. But shows Star Trek: The Next Generation was ahead of its time.
Very good.
I feel like we got a great. I agree with you. It was a great Wesley episode, and it was actually a very good Picard episode. And I think this was the episode where we finally get the full Picard. Like, this was a very great showing of Picard's character. I think he's very well defined. I think the episode was also just very directed beautifully. It was also the story was really great. It was nuanced and had
there was a really cool scene when he was questioning all the different members, and it cut, and it was like the way it was cut was really neat because you didn't know, one, Worf would be sitting there, then Crusher would be sitting there, and it was just a neat, well edited scene.
It was well edited. It felt very cinematic. The music was very strong in this episode, and I think that it hit the episode hit for me a lot of emotional cues many times throughout the episode. I felt tears were on the verge. The floodgates were on the verge of opening up quite a few times on this episode. I think it's interesting to see Wesley finally fail at something.
Yeah, that was interesting, and to see how he deals with it.
Mm-hmm. I think this is finally one of
the...
But
he wasn't upset that he failed for himself. He was upset that he reflected poorly on the Enterprise and on his mentors. That was the first thing he said to Captain Picard. I failed you.
And the ship, yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He totally did.
No, I don't think he failed. There was a better candidate, an older candidate who was more mature and had accomplished more so far in his career. Wesley was even surprised. What was that guy's name, that weird alien?
The Benzite? Martok? Was it
Benzite.
Martok?
No, Martok is a general.
Now I have to look.
But that Wesley, when he met that guy, he was like, "Oh, you're the guy that invented the so and so, blah blah blah," and he was surprised that this guy wasn't already in Starfleet Academy. So obviously he was pretty accomplished. So I don't feel like Wesley really failed. I feel like he just got beat out by a far superior candidate.
We're probably gonna have to start the hangout again.
We're probably going to have to start the hangout again. You can just invite him right in from here.
How? How do you do it?
Go up to your options. There's a little people with a plus sign on it.
Oh, you're so fantastic.
Yeah, you don't have to start over.
Look at
you
that.
do not have to start over. There he is.
Oh, cool. He's back.
He's back.
Sorry,
right.
I don't know what happened. Technical difficulties.
You missed a few things.
No, I was listening the whole time.
Really?
Oh, cool.
We're having a great conversation. Yeah, no, I agree with all of your comments.
The show must go on.
I apologize. These little tiny insect creatures kind of got into my camera.
You're
Nanites.
foreshadowing. You're foreshadowing.
Yes.
Very nice.
So go ahead, continue. I'm listening.
Well, we were talking about Wesley, and Goldie Scott was saying that the Benzite character, whose name escapes me.
Actually, his name is Mordock.
Mordock. I was close. Martok.
Very close. Very close.
Here's Mordock right here.
Oh, you have Mordock.
Yes. Mordock the Benzite. Can you see
Okay, what is the smoke or the vapor that comes out of that thing in front of his mouth? Do you know?
It's his species version of marijuana. They're addicted to it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Or spice. It could be
I'm
spice.
surprised Starfleet is cool with a drug user openly smoking, and getting high in Starfleet Academy like that.
No, their species is completely dependent on this vapor. It's not even a question. It's no longer a drug. It's part of their way of living.
Oh, so they've evolved past all that nonsense.
Anything about what they're inhaling on his file card?
No, I don't really think it's space marijuana. I don't think that's what it is. I think that's how he. Oh, you have the information.
Well, I have the file card, which gives me such relevant information, such as Murdoch maintains a lasting friendship with Wesley Crusher of the USS Enterprise.
I know he comes back. But wait, so my actual theory as to what that is, Goldu Scott, is that benzites look like kind of amphibious, or possibly like, they look a little squiddish, a little perhaps sea dwelling, and perhaps this vapor is what allows him to be comfortable in an oxygen or primarily air environment, whereas on his homeworld he may in fact be submerged in water.
Like Aquaman.
Like Aquaman, perhaps, yeah. But
That's
I don't
pretty
really
cool.
know. I don't know. I just made that up. I don't really know. I have
It
no
sounds
idea.
good to me.
Well, I'm sure it's some. Do you have any information on that, Doctor?
Well, I'll consult the. This is a book I have not used as of yet. In our episodes, the Star Trek Encyclopedia.
Excellent. What do you think of the full Picard?
I'm sorry.
What do you think of Patrick Stewart giving us the full Picard? This
I
episode?
heard you make the comment on the full Picard. I think he gave what's his name? What was the name of the guy who was investigating?
Remmick.
I think he gave Remmick the full Picard when he said, "I would like to join the Enterprise when my tour is over." Picard shot him this look like, "Fuck you." No.
Yeah, it's like it was like, are you kidding me? Is
Yeah.
Is
Like,
this
really?
You're
That was
asking?
full
You're
Picard.
actually really asking that?
Yeah, that was kind of stupid on his part. I mean, it was kind of sad, pathetic, but I mean, there's no way.
I think it is. It's weird that Starfleet has these kinds of Inquisition style events occurring. Like that didn't seem very Starfleetish to me. An admiral bringing an attache aboard to tear apart a ship's log to find something wrong based on no evidence or anything like that. So to me that was really peculiar and strange, and it didn't feel very Starfleet to me at all.
Well, he was. I mean, in his defense, he didn't know quite what he was looking for, right? Because if and again, I haven't watched this episode in a while, but is my understanding correct that at this point, neither of them are under the influence of the alien slugs, or are they?
Yeah.
My theory is that the Admiral is part of the conspiracy, and that he was trying to get rid of Picard, trying to get Picard off the Enterprise so that one of his agents could take it over for some reason.
Correct.
Oh, is that what's happening? Okay.
I don't know. That's just my guess.
No. It is. It's as you know, Starfleet Boy is not spoiler free.
Yeah.
So the Doctor just alluded to something that comes at the end of the season, because Admiral Quinn will be back, and you will find out that Goldu Scott, your suspicions are perhaps correct.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So then they were trying to get Picard back to Starfleet so they could take him over?
Yeah, so they could take over, well, maybe Picard, and also perhaps take over the Enterprise. The Enterprise is a very strategic ship, and if you're going to stage, let's say, a coup d'etat among Starfleet, it would help to have the flagship of the Federation under your control.
But if they were taking Picard away, then what access would they have to the Enterprise? Because Picard is going to be back at Starfleet Academy.
They would have subdued Riker somehow, with perhaps the aid of an alien, and then the rest of the crew, and they would have then on Earth they would have subdued or acquired the allegiance of Picard by a similar methodology.
I want to go on record as saying this is one of the. This was all not this episode, but the episode that will follow up, what was laid down here, is one of my all-time favorite Next Generation episodes, and I think it's one of the. It's one of those storylines that were just abandoned. I mean, this seemed like. I mean, how cool would it have been if we'd spent like a whole season in this invasion of the body snatchers kind of scenario where you wouldn't know who to trust in Starfleet, and you could have had you could have had ships pitted against each other because you wouldn't know who was who, and they were taking over Starfleet, the Federation. I mean, later on, you know, Deep Space Nine kind of used a similar idea with the changelings, where they would actually take the form of someone. But here, you actually had creatures invading the bodies of, you know, the Starfleet personnel themselves. I thought it was a fascinating idea.
And they're slugs, right?
They're like they're kind of like slug crustaceans. They're like crabby. They're a bit crabby.
So they're
it's
similar
like,
to the Dax symbiote.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Similar, but not quite like that.
So they have like a group mind, don't they? Like it's a bunch of bugs together, and they just consume the whole body. And I mean, I loved the episode that follows this one. This one, it's okay.
I think that I think I love this one just because of the character development stuff. I liked, like we were talking earlier, I liked all the scenes, the interrogation scenes, because it kind of gave us like a review of all the adventures so far, and it also showed how the crew responds to being questioned, which was kind of fun. I liked the scene where he tries to bully Dr. Crusher, and he asks her, you know, about the nature of her relationship with Picard, and she's like, "That is none of your business." And Worf is particularly good. Oh, there was a nice Worf moment between Wesley in this episode. Wesley's all kind of nervous and psyched up about the psych evaluation that's going to come up. So he's in the holodeck, and he's thinking of what kind of horrors he can expose himself to, such as, you know, I think he mentions like some kind of like snake or spider, and then thunderstorms. Wesley's afraid of thunderstorms, lightning storms. So I thought that's interesting. Growing up on Earth, particularly in Florida, we get used to lightning storms very quickly. But and then Worf kind of tells him, he's like, you're wasting effort and time by trying to conquer the unknown, like what's unknown to you. You're better off training and just being ready for whatever comes. And then he reveals that for him, the psych evaluation was very accurate and real. And his whole thing is that he doesn't feel like he can depend on anybody. But serving aboard the Enterprise, of course, means that you have to depend on a lot of people, and a lot of people depend on you. So Worf, that was a nice tender moment, I thought, between Worf and Wesley. And I thought this was the first time for me that Worf kind of opens up a little about his himself.
I apologize. I haven't, been on the show for several episodes. I guess you haven't gotten yet to the Worf. Isn't there a Worf-centric episode with Klingons where his loyalty is tested in season 1 somewhere? Where
That's
Klingons. Oh, it's the next one. Okay.
Yeah, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah. I want to point out the negligence of Commander Troi once again on board the Enterprise. No one has talked about the Wesley's emo friend who missed the Starfleet Academy torture session by 20 points, I think it was. And
30 points.
Oh, it was 30? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this kid has obvious issues because, I mean, it's not like Starfleet is... Okay. it's not like Starfleet is that hard to get into. Remember, this is an organization that admitted Barclay into its ranks.
Wow.
So I'm sure he would have gotten it, just like Wesley said, next time I'm sure you'll get in. But no, this guy decides to go steal a shuttlecraft. This kid is mentally unbalanced. Where was Troi? Her job to manage the psych profiles and the mental aptitudes of everybody aboard the ship. Why did she give no indication to her command staff that, hey, we got to watch this kid. This kid cannot handle life in the 24th century. Where was Troi? Troi was negligent in her duties. I am very disappointed in Counselor Deanna Troi. I think she should be ejected from the Enterprise.
I second that. I mean, they're just lucky this kid didn't get his hands on some phaser rifles or anything like that.
Thank you.
I think the kid's very lucky that Captain Picard knew of a trick, an engine restart trick, an old one.
Let me just say that I believe somebody suggested using the tractor beam, and they said they were out of range. Okay, can't you just move the ship to its in range? It's not that hard. They're over. I mean, it's not like they're in battle conditions. It's a little tiny shuttlecraft. It's a Galaxy-class starship. I didn't understand that whole subplot. That whole subplot was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand.
But it served a purpose. It provided. It provided Captain Picard with the reason he needed to stay on the Enterprise, because he was considering that guy's offer to leave and go, take the promotion.
It hadn't been offered at that
And
point.
he saved the kid's life, and at the end, he was talking to the kid, and he's like, "Whatever, thank you for saving my life." And Captain Picard said, "That's my job. That's what I do." And you saw this kind of moment of realization come over him that this was the place for him to be.
And a really nice shot that kind of tracks in to Picard, and then the follow-up shot of him coming on the bridge was really nice too, where you see Picard step off the turbo lift and walk over to young Crusher. I don't remember that at that point. I don't think Captain Picard knew that Quinn wanted him to become commandant of Starfleet Academy. So I think this was just one of those moments that it happens on a starship when you have kids on board. I mean, this is again one of the problems of having civilians and families on board starships, is that some snot-nosed little punk who's sore about not getting into the finals is gonna have a hissy fit and steal a shuttlecraft. It's just something that happens. But the kid was really lucky to have Captain Picard as his captain that day, because he was able to take command of the situation. He was able to use his forceful voice to snap the young man back into reality. He was able to, give him an order and get him in line, and just by the sheer will of his performance, in that scene. And even
Was
Remmick,
that scientifically correct? What he told him to do, would that actually work?
I don't know, but I think airplanes, sometimes when airplanes stall out, they recommend you do a hard dive or something like that to kind of restart the engines. I'm gonna say that at this stage in season 1 especially, there's not always. I think the Doctor has a great point. It's why couldn't the Enterprise move into tractor beam range? It didn't seem like something that would be difficult to do. I mean, they had something like 2 minutes or 90 seconds or something like that. It seems like there's more than enough time. So yeah, I think that was a little weak. That was one perhaps weak science-y moment on Next Gen, but for this episode.
Well, there wasn't a lot of science in this episode, I guess.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of science.
Personal drama.
Well, there was the Starfleet exams. Those were kind of interesting. I thought that was fun too. But anyways, I did like in that scene the moment where Remmick kind of forgets himself, and he's like, "Yes," when the kid is safe. That to me was like a hint that perhaps this character is not as bad as he seems.
What do you guys think of Remmick?
I feel like
I don't want him to come back. I don't think he'd fit in very well. I think he rubbed everyone the wrong way.
I think unfortunately he has shown that he's kind of taken the wrong path. No matter what, if we understand he's serving in Starfleet and he's serving this particular admiral and he has to kind of follow orders, but I think that working so closely with an admiral, and Starfleet allows for like frank conversation, permission to speak frankly, all this kind of thing. I think Remmick, it shows that Remmick doesn't really like his job.
But is he under the alien influence at this moment? Is he?
I don't know if he is. I think he might be, or maybe perhaps
He's not really acting as he normally would.
I don't know. I don't know how he's acting. I feel like that scene where he kind of does that yes thing is proof that perhaps both he and Admiral Quinn are not yet under the alien influence, because that's very contrary to how they behave later on when they have the alien creatures inside of them. But
they're looking to see if Picard is under the influence of the alien.
Right, and I think they become subdued later on. I think that this investigation leads Admiral Quinn down the wrong dark tunnel, and Remmick just kind of follows him along.
Wait a minute, but hold on. You told me earlier that what I said was correct, that he already was part of the conspiracy.
No,
and
I
he was
said
here to get rid of Picard so he could take over the Enterprise.
Goldie Scott, if you listen to my language, I said that perhaps you're correct. I was not.
I was pretty sure you told me I was correct.
We'll find out.
Doctor, did you hear? What did you hear, Doctor?
We'll find out on the playback.
That's why I was asking that's why I asked the question, because
well, I'm changing my mind then.
the prerogative.
It's the captain's prerogative. Well, Admiral's prerogative.
Are they, that's what I want to know. What do you all think? Is it... My impression is that they are not yet under the influence, because of what you just said, Sahel, which is that Remmick had a very human reaction with a yes, and then later on, when Remmick leaves, he seems a little more human towards someone who we're led to believe is an old friend of his, which is Picard. And he has that comment about, maybe I'm just getting old, maybe I'm seeing conspiracies wherever I look, and perhaps Remmick, within his station in Starfleet, is noticing strange irregularities, and he's trying to find out what is going on, and it's something that is so minute that he has to go into the logs and he'll see personality differences, because all of the questions that Remmick seems to ask about are really are command questions related to Picard's personality, his frame of mind. Remember, they asked about when the Ferengi thing took his mind over. Like he's trying to dig. He's trying to see, could Picard be under the influence? And so I think right now Remmick is not under the influence. I think he's looking for it, and he finds it, and they take him over.
It's in the context of when I first saw this episode, I had no idea what was even going on. But when I did see the season ender, I remember thinking, oh yeah, maybe they were under the influence of these alien creatures. But it is truly, when you look at it just from the context of the episode, it's unknown.
Well, maybe we'll find out. Maybe when we rewatch the other episode,
there'll
they
be
will actually
a
tell
line
us
or
that.
something. Yeah, exactly.
A line, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, right now it seems to me like they're looking, but maybe.
It seems like they're free and clear of influence at this point, based on the episode's information.
What do you all think about the Starfleet psychology test?
I try not to.
I thought it was like the Kobayashi Maru.
You knew,
like
did you? I mean, I knew the second all the chaos erupted that it was part of a test, that it wasn't real.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was the test too, but Wesley didn't know.
Wesley was incredibly impatient. Like they put him in that room. he's sitting there for like 3 seconds before he goes, maybe they forgot about me. Hello? I mean, like, dude, chill. Wait a
I know
minute.
he needs to take a chill pill. It's true. He's very nervous.
And if I'd been Wesley, instead of befriending the Benzite, I would have been talking to that chick, man.
Well, we established earlier in the season he doesn't know how to talk to girls yet.
But he was very delighted when she said he was cute.
Yeah, she was cute too.
She was cute.
Terrible actress, but she was cute.
I thought the Vulcan candidate was also very attractive.
Yeah, they were both weird in their line deliveries, though. I felt like they, it was their first time on an acting job, kind of.
It could have very well been. They could have won a contest. One never knows. Like, like a cereal box contest be on Star Trek: The Next Generation. They could have been the children of producers or writers or other
That's true.
associates. There's a lot of extras that don't ever come back on Star Trek: The Next
You
Generation.
see the doctor over there doing research. I think, are you trying to look up who those people were?
I liked the administrator, the Chan. He was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He has that Yoda moment when he's like, when Wesley says,
Is it Chan or Chang? I thought it was Chang.
I thought it was Chan, like C-H-A-N.
Lieutenant Chang.
Oh, Chang. Okay, thank you. Chang.
Chang.
So Lieutenant Chang was amazing in that scene where he kind of pulls a Yoda on Wesley, where Wesley's like, oh, the psych evaluation. He's like, oh, he's like suddenly like gets all serious and he's like, what we like to call a psychological evaluation. Da 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 da. It's kind of like, you will be. You will be afraid.
but what I don't understand, So, is there like a whole section on this starbase devoted to just mission? These scenarios that they create.
This is definitely a testing center, because.
At Disney World, they have like these pretend like Catastrophe Canyon where you go through and. I mean, I don't know. Like, I find it kind of strange that there's this whole section of the starbase where they.
And they even had makeup. Like the guys had like makeup on their faces, like with dirt and blood.
Exactly.
This is a testing facility. It's like that's the whole point of this facility is to administer all these like complex Starfleet Academy entrance exams.
Shouldn't it have been a holodeck, really, if they were really going to do that?
It doesn't feel real. Some people can detect holographic.
They can?
Stuff, yeah.
Where has that been established?
Data, for example, would be able to detect a holographic.
He's Data.
An android.
Geordi would be able to detect it.
Yeah, but he has enhanced vision through his visor. He can see on different spectrums.
Counselor Troi would have been able to detect it.
Yeah, but she's psychic.
But so my point is that
Wesley, not Wesley.
My point is that they're testing all kinds of beings from all over the quadrant, and many of them have special abilities that would nullify a holographic experience.
So they have Catastrophe Canyon
instead.
Half the starbase.
Yes, half of the starbase is Catastrophe Canyon.
Okay, I just wanted to know. My general impression of Starfleet is that it's kind of creepy from this episode, because I mean, on the one hand, you have the psych test, which I think is kind of bizarre, and then you have this conspiracy thing, which I mean, just within the context of the episode, you're like, what is wrong with Starfleet? I don't walk away with a good impression of Starfleet at the end of this episode.
And I think that's intentional. I think that's what the writers or this season they're trying to say. Something's wrong at Starfleet. It's not the same happy-go-lucky place it once was. I mean, there's all these weird new things that are happening. But I don't think that I think that again, this felt very much like a mini Kobayashi Maru. I think this was another one of these like no-win scenarios, where you lose something. So Starfleet seems to be big on that. They love the no-win scenario. They love you acquiesce to no-win situations.
But now, let me ask you, why? The impression that I got from this episode is that it's very hard to get into Starfleet. There was only 4 candidates, and only one of them got in. Like, I don't understand why. I mean, if all 4 of them scored very highly, how come all 4 of them couldn't get in?
Well,
You know?
let's just think about this for a second. There's probably in the United Federation of Planets, in the quadrant in Federation space, there's probably trillions and trillions of life forms. And this is a full-time dedicated testing facility, and Wesley's test took about 2.5 to 3 days. So if you think of the amount, this is a not 24-hour, but this is like probably a facility that runs, weekly. So every 3 days they probably rotate 4 more students. There may have been more testing rooms too. We only saw 1 testing room with 4 students, but there may be several testing rooms with 4 students in it. So I think the rate at which candidates do make the cut and get into Starfleet Academy is enough to supply Starfleet with, fresh recruits. But that being said, there is this sense of it is very difficult to get into Starfleet. But I think there's lots of people trying to get into Starfleet is, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
And were you surprised at the revelation that Picard didn't get in on the first try?
It was delightful, but it wasn't surprising. I think that was kind of something that I thought I kind of predicted that the writers were going to give Wesley some kind of consolation like that. So I can't remember how I felt about it the first time I saw the episode. What about you?
I liked it. I related to it. I have a personal secret that I can divulge to you guys, which is that the first time I took the auditing part of the CPA exam, I failed it. And the second time, the second time I took the auditing part of the CPA exam, I failed it again.
You Gold Stud.
Took me 3 tries. So I totally relate to Wesley.
And you're like the best accountant.
Every experience is a learning experience. I don't view this as a failure.
Very nice. Good attitude. See, you'd make it.
Accountants, yeah, wow.
You would make it into Starfleet without any problem. This is the attitude Starfleet's looking for. Good job.
Why would I ever join Starfleet? I'm a sworn member of the Obsidian Order. That would never happen.
Well, the Obsidian Order is lucky to have you, Goldie Scott.
Damn right they are.
So I think those are the best things about this episode. I think is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
The corridors on the starbase were really, really shitty.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. They were like original series level of sets.
I mean, the backgrounds, like the ones that you're supposed to think are supposed to go off in the distance, and you can plainly see, it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a set extension, and it's clearly a set extension. It was really bad. I guess the Blu-ray remastering doesn't help in all cases.
And I want to also point out the reappearance of the dress uniform, and I don't mean the fancy uniform. I mean the uniform that is a dress or like a skirt.
Oh, I missed that.
Well, Captain Picard's wearing it at the end, and he's asking Wesley
why.
No,
he was not.
That in a skirt, man.
No.
Oh.
There was one of the ladies in the uniform with the skirts where you see their bare legs.
I'm sorry. That's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was on the bridge.
I missed that. Also, you can see where Worf's makeup ends.
Yeah, that's what I think I was saying that about Data in an earlier episode where we could see Data's makeup end too and some of his chest hairs.
There's a famous meme. There's like a really popular meme on the internet where Riker, whenever he sits down, he puts his leg over a chair. I can demonstrate it if you like.
Oh yeah, he does that.
He does that.
Yes.
He does that here to Remmick. Yeah, that was a fun moment.
That was funny. That's right. That's right. I just remembered that.
Oh,
I love Riker, man.
I love the
Riker.
line where Captain Picard says, "The only thing I'm guilty of is allowing this charade to go on
Charade.
so long."
Charade.
I was looking for that quote. That was a really good one.
Apparently, there's a deleted scene in the episode. It's Wesley's 16th birthday,
Oh.
and there was a party, and we did not get to see it.
On the Enterprise, there was a party?
Yes, and according to, once again, I quote from the Star Trek Next Generation companion.
That's interesting, because doesn't he say when he's at the testing place, I turned 16 in a month?
Oh, continuity flub.
Maybe that's why they took out the party scene.
Interesting.
Or maybe they added that line in place of the party scene. Maybe they just wanted to establish Wesley's age for the audience somehow.
And maybe they were going to give him a party, like, in a later episode.
A filmed scene cut for time showed Wesley's friends helping celebrate his 16th birthday with predictably pithy comments from Worf and Data about human rituals. There's a picture? Oh, wow.
Oh.
What else does it say? There's nothing else. Oh, this is the first appearance of the shuttlecraft, initially named the Copernicus 3.
Oh.
Is this the first appearance of the shuttlecraft in the Next Generation?
I feel like that's a no.
Yeah, didn't they arrive in Encounter 5 Didn't he take a shuttlecraft onto the
Yeah, that's right.
Enterprise?
But we don't see the shuttlecraft.
Oh, that we see later in All Good Things at the very end.
Right.
That's refilmed. But
So this might be the first appearance of the shuttlecraft.
that's insane.
Wow, I didn't know that. It's also the first appearance of a Vulcan in a speaking role on Next Generation.
Uh-huh. By the way, Doctor, I have a question for you.
Yes.
When do we see a Vulcan ship before Star Trek Enterprise?
Outside of Star Trek First Contact.
Right, ignoring
Unification.
Wait,
They
we see.
kill
Hold
Vulcan
Yeah,
on.
ship.
why? Yeah. Why do you ignore First Contact? I brought that up too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh no! I mean, I'm just saying I'm sure there's an appearance before First Contact.
Do we
but
see a Vulcan ship in the original series ever? Do you remember?
No.
And we don't see one in the movies, right?
Well, I just mentioned First Contact.
No. I mean like in the original series movies.
Well, I always thought that the shuttlecraft in Star Trek 1 was a Vulcan shuttlecraft, but then
It might be. No, but I don't think so.
says it's not.
It's a
What about
Federation.
Star Trek 3, Search for Spy, or at the beginning, is it the end of 3, beginning of 4, where we see him back on Vulcan? Maybe there was something there.
No.
We just see the bird of prey.
So in Next Generation and Unification, you're saying we do see Vulcan ships.
They steal Vulcan ships. I remember that.
Okay.
I know that we see a Vulcan ship in First Contact, but outside of that, I'm really struggling to think. We don't see Vulcan involved in much in Next Generation.
Until later, we do go to Vulcan. We do have a lot of episodes with Sarek, and then Spock.
But we don't see his ship necessarily.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
That's what I was trying to determine. I just couldn't remember. But now that I forgot in First Contact that's a Vulcan ship. I totally forgot.
It's a Vulcan ship, yeah.
Thanks, Goldie Scott was right.
You are correct, sir. All right. Well,
I think.
I have nothing else to say about this.
I think so. Let's give our rating. So on Starfleet Boy, it's a scale of 1 to 5, and I'm gonna go ahead and give this 4.9.
My God, 4.9.
It's
Wow.
so good. I love this episode.
You love this episode?
I love it. Just love.
I give this a 1 point. I give this a 2. I'm gonna be generous today. I'm gonna give this episode a 2.
Wow.
I give
It's-
2 minutes to you and the gallant crew of the Enterprise.
I mean, okay, it's interesting to me because of its connection to the episode that will come later. But I really don't think I would ever want to rewatch this episode. I didn't get much out of it. I mean, the whole Wesley taking the Starfleet exam. I mean, okay, whatever. That wasn't that entertaining, and again, outside of its context of the alien slug conspiracy, the whole interviewing the crew is just whatever.
I'm just a sucker for the full Picard. When the full Picard
Paul Picard.
happens, I can't help myself.
Is that like when a peacock spreads his tail?
It's exactly like that.
Okay, Golder Scott, you're the tiebreaker here. Where do you?
I'm giving it a 2.5.
Wow, you're generous, sir.
Yeah.
But we're on more or less on the same wavelength.
Yeah, you and me are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
It had good aspects, but for the most part, I can't say this was a great episode by any means.
I mean, would you ever want to just seek this episode out again to watch?
No.
Right. Yeah.
No, there are much. If I need a good Wesley Starfleet Academy episode, there are much better ones.
Yeah.
Red Squad.
Yeah.
That is a really good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hell, I don't, man. 4. Give it a
4.9.
4.9.
4.9. Almost a perfect score.
Almost.
So let me just put it in context. Obviously, Best of Both Worlds, parts 1 and 2 is.
It's unrateable.
It is
too
the
high.
5. It is
Yeah,
the
that's a 5.
metaphysical perfection. It is an example of metaphysical perfection that Next Generation can achieve. Okay? That is the 5. You are putting this episode right there.
It's
right
just
there.
5 to me is like warp 10. It's like this mythical speed, and you're right. Best of Both Worlds gets it. But like 4.9 is like warp 9.9. It's not. It's like when you breach to warp 10, it's like so much faster than warp 9.9. So
But
to me, it's like
it's warp 9.
Doctor, are you? This is gonna make your head explode. Are you familiar with the DS9 Season 1 episode called Battle Lines?
You're gonna have to remind me of that one.
Kaiopaka.
Oh,
Okay,
is that the one where Kaiopaka is stuck on the planet and she dies?
She becomes a zombie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Sohail gave that episode a 10 out of 10.
Whoa!
I love that episode.
Wow, really? Well, but I even that one I understand because I'm sure it made him cry. But there's nothing to cry in this episode.
I got teary-eyed quite a few times. I got teary-eyed.
In which episode?
In this last episode, this one. There were a lot of tender moments that made me kind of get all emo.
Between who?
Wesley and like all the people, and like Captain Picard and all the people, and Riker and all the people. All the people were having an emo time. There's a lot of tension. It was a high tension episode.
The only emo moment was that kid.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Starfleet, I'm going to go steal a shuttlecraft and be an Orion pirate or something. I mean, what the fuck was wrong with that guy?
Point the nose at the planet. Listen to me, I'm giving you an order. Point the nose at the planet.
He can't even work a shuttlecraft. How can he possibly get into Starfleet? I don't get it.
Poor boy.
Well, he didn't. Now we see why.
Yeah, he never
that's
gets
true.
into Starfleet. So what would become of him in the 24th century? Would he just become like a kitchen staff at...
Well, he might become a stellar cartographer.
A what?
A stellar cartographer, perhaps?
But that would mean joining Starfleet.
No, not necessarily. Stellar cartography is a...
Oh, you mean a private stellar cartography?
Yeah, he could join a private firm. He could do stellar cartography. He could do... I don't know what his specialization was, but he might go into engineering, but like on a star base, or even like, there's lots of non-Starfleet contracts and applications out there.
I think Troi needs to recommend some serious meds. Psychological counseling. She was very negligent. Very negligent.
Troi perhaps didn't do a good job in vetting his.
Couldn't she have sensed it? Couldn't she have? I don't understand. Okay, they approach a planet, which approximate the distance between Enterprise and a person down on a planet, and she's able to say, "Captain, he's lying to you. I sense something in him," and yet she cannot sense a child on board the very ship that she is on, who is having potentially suicidal tendencies and wants to just, I mean, what the fuck, man? It sense. Troi is utterly useless on this show.
I disagree with you.
That's my personal mission on Starfleet Boy, is to prove how utterly useless Deanna Troi is on this show. Thank you very much.
Wow. So what if poor Counselor Troi, she might have been asleep or something? She has to sleep.
That's a good point. Fair. That's fair.
All right, everybody. I think we're gonna wrap up the episode Coming of Age. I think this is a really good discussion about it.
Which is a great song by the Damn Yankees, I just want to point out.
Do you know the words? I don't know that song.
I'm sure they can Google Damn Yankees.
Okay. Damn Yankees is the theme song of this episode.
Much better than this episode.
So, what is it next? A Heart of Glory or something like that? The Heart of Darkness? No, it's Heart of Glory, I think. So next time on Starfleet Boy, we'll talk about Heart of Glory. If you made it this far in the episode, we encourage you to write us, let us know your thoughts. If you'd like to be on Starfleet Boy, feel free to send us a message. You can do all that on the YouTube, on the Facebook, on the Instagram, or on the Twitter. It's all.
The Tumblr.
Oh, and the Tumblr. Thank you. We're all over. Starfleet Boy is all on all the things, right?
And the Tinder.
No,
and
we're not.
the Grinder.
No, we're not.
Whoa!
No.
Starfleet
Okay.
Boy is not on the Tinder, and Starfleet Boy is also not on the Grinder. But perhaps now that
Maybe
could be
someday.
a new marketing venue for Starfleet Boy. We'll see. All right, thank you very much. Live long and prosper, and we'll see you next time.